Good morning to you all. In today's session, we'll be discussing the place of supply provisions under GST. The place of supply as a topic gains paramount importance because it's one of the important factor for determining the nature of supply. So, as you're all aware, the nature of what are the two types of supply under GST? It can be either intra-state supply or interstate supply. What is an intrastate supply? Intrastate supply is when the location of the supplier and place of supply is in the same state, then it is called as an intrastate supply. When the location of supplier and place of supply are in two different states or in two different union territories, or in one state or in one union territory, then it is called as an interstate supply. So as I have written down here, one of the important factor to determine what the supply is, what the nature of supply is, we need to understand what is the place of supply for that transaction. So you cannot have the place of supply as per your own will if you're having a GST transaction. It will have to be definitely as per the rules that is being stated in the GST Act. So many might have a doubt whether this is an option to adopt the place of supply, whether there is an option to adopt the place of supply as specified in GST, or it is a rule that one has to adopt. So it is a definitive condition that is being stated under the Act that only this place of supply will have to be adopted for this particular transaction. You cannot have any deviation in that regard. So section 10, 11, 12 and 13 of IGST Act tells you what are all the place of supply provisions for various transactions. So as I was stating, this is a mandatory condition that needs to be applied in every transaction. Where is it coming out from is it's under each of the sections that I've stated, section 10, 11, 12 and 13. If you read section 10, how it starts, the place of supply of goods other than supply of goods imported into or exported from India shall be as under. It is not may be as under, it is shall be as under. So what does it mean? You don't have a choice but to adopt the place of supply provisions as stated in section 10. Section 10 for the transactions that are covered under section 10. Similarly, you have section 11, 12 and 13. So what will happen if you have determined the place of supply provision wrongly? First is that you will charge a wrong tax. So if you are getting the nature of supply wrong, that is whether it is an interstate supply or an intrastate supply, whether you are getting it wrongly, if you have treated an intrastate supply as an interstate supply, then you will start charging IGST for a transaction for which CGST and SGST was supposed to be charged. Rather, if you have adopted a intrastate transaction for an interstate transaction, then you will start charging CGST, SGST for an IGST transaction. So the first impact is that you will have a wrong tax amount that is being charged. So once you charge the tax wrongly, what will happen? What is the next immediate impact? You will carry it over to the returns. You will incorrectly disclose it in the returns. That is the second impact. So you have anyway collected the tax and you have paid it to the government. You have just paid it under the wrong head. So will there be any severe impact because of this? Will the government suffer some severe financial losses because of this? The answer is no. It's only that they have been deposited in the wrong account. Whatever is the state tax has been deposited with the in the common pool as an IGST transaction, or whatever was the common pool was wrongly deposited as the state's share as SDST. So what will happen is that you will have some penal provisions that is applicable to you. You will not have any interest impact, but you will have some penalty provisions that are applicable because of the wrong disclosure in the returns. Because anything that is done against whatever is being specified as per the act will be subject to penal provisions. So we'll be looking into this in detail when we are covering the penalty provisions. So this is the impact of wrong determination of tax. One is that you will charge a wrong tax. Second, you will carry it over to the returns wrongly. And third is that some penal provisions will be applicable because of the wrong disclosure in the returns and wrong payment of taxes. So now if you see, the place of supply provisions are being covered, as I was originally stating, place of supply provisions are being covered under 4 different sections, that is section 10, section 11, section 12 and section 13 of IGST Act. So why there are 4 different sections? There are not one single section, is that there are 4 different transactions that are being contemplated under each of the sections. So if you see, section 10 and section 11 of IGST Act is dedicated for goods, whereas section 12 and section 13 is for services. So any transaction that is having a supply of goods other than goods imported into or exported from India. So basically it is a domestic supply of goods. Whenever there is a domestic supply of goods, the place of supply will have to be determined as per section 10. Whenever it is an import or an export, import into India or an export from India, then section 11 will be applicable. This is in case of goods. So it's quite a straight transaction when it comes to goods, because you will know, one person will know the origin of goods and the place where the goods actually reaches or it is being consumed by the final customer. So it is not as complex as it is being stated. But in case of services, the place of supply provisions becomes very important because of the nature that the services are being subject to. Services are intangible in nature, so one will not know from where the service is being provided or who is using that services unless you study the transaction in detail. So place of supply provisions becomes more important in case of services. So section 12 talks about place of supply for services when the location of the supplier and location of recipient is in India, and when the location of supplier or location of recipient is outside India, then section 13 of IGST Act discusses the place of supply provisions. So now we'll get into the details what section 10 says. So the place of supply for domestic transaction, place of supply of goods for domestic transaction, that is for goods other, for supply of goods other than supply of goods imported into or exported from India, is being discussed in section 10. Section 10(1)(a). So I would prefer reading the section first and then explaining you the section. So we'll just read through the section. Section 10(1). The place of supply of goods other than supply of goods imported into or exported from India shall be as under. A. Where the supply involves movement of goods, whether by the supplier or by the recipient or any other person, the place of supply of goods shall be the location of the goods at the time at which the movement of goods terminates for delivery to the recipient. So the first condition talks about supply involving movement of goods. So whenever there is movement of goods, whenever there is a supply of good, that is under section 10, whenever there is a supply of goods and that supply is a domestic transaction, that is what is being discussed under section 10. Now section 10(1)(a) talks about supply involving movement of goods. So only when there is a movement of goods and when there is a supply which is a domestic transaction, then you will have to adopt this place of supply. So what is a place of supply in such transaction? It shall be the location of the goods at the time at which the movement of goods terminates for delivery to the recipient. So first is that the movement, can it be caused only by the supplier or it can be caused by anyone? Section 10(1)(a) is very clear. The movement can be caused by the supplier or the recipient or any other person. It is not necessarily, or it need not be necessarily caused only by the supplier. So the movement can be either caused by the recipient. The recipient can agree to pick the goods from the supplier's factory. It can be X works, or it can be delivery at the customer's premises. The supplier can move the goods from his factory to the recipient's factory. So it is delivery at the customer's premises. Or leave alone the liability of the supplier or the recipient, they can have a contract with a third party. That there can be a contract with the transporter saying that the movement will be caused by the transporter from the supplier's location to the recipient's location, and whatever is the loss in between will have to be borne by the transporter. That can also be the case. So the movement can be caused either by the supplier or the recipient or any other person. Then you'll have to adopt the place of supply as per section 10(1)(a). So what is a place of supply? The place of supply is the location of goods. The location of goods at the time at which the movement of goods terminates for delivery to the recipient. So the time when the goods terminates for delivery to the recipient, when both, what is termination of delivery to the recipient? Is it something that is being defined in the act? The answer is no. It is not being defined in the act. It is based on the contractual obligations between the supplier and the recipient. So what is termination for delivery to the recipient depends upon the contract between the supplier and the recipient. They will have to agree a place. It can be the supplier's factory, it can be the recipient's factory, or it can be a common location where both of them agrees. It need not be necessarily the factory of either the supplier or the recipient. It can even be a third party location. If they agree that the delivery will be terminated at the point at which they have agreed that the delivery has been fulfilled, that the contract has been fulfilled, then that location will be called as the location where the goods terminates for delivery to the recipient. So the point at which the goods terminates for delivery, that location will be called as a place of supply for the transaction which is domestic supply and where there is a movement of goods. When both these conditions are fulfilled, then the place of supply shall be the location of the goods at the time at which the movement of goods terminates for delivery to the recipient. So I will just give more examples in this case. So when the movement of goods is being caused by the supplier, that is when the supplier has agreed to dispatch the goods, when the supplier has agreed to dispatch the goods to the recipient's premises. So assume that the supplier's factory is in Orissa. The supplier's factory is in Orissa, and they have agreed that when the goods reach Assam, then the order will be treated as fulfilled by the supplier. So it's been agreed between the supplier and recipient that once the goods reaches a particular premises in a proper condition as agreed, that is in Assam, then it will be treated that the goods are have terminated for delivery. So in this case, the place of supply is Assam. So what is the tax payable is based on what is the nature of supply. Location of the supplier and the place of supply, if it is in one single, is if it is in the same state or same union territory or same state or same union territory, then it is treated as intrastate supply. If it is in two different states or two different union territories, then it shall be treated as an interstate transaction. Now in this case, one is in Orissa, the location of supplier is in Orissa and the place of supply is in Assam. Since they are in two different states, the nature of supply is an interstate supply and IGST is payable.